with Renee. I'm very excited to share this work with you as part of the I Am Winter Solstice Symposium. And I hope all of you got to hear my fire tender's instructions last night. It makes things a little more clear for those, especially those of you who have been here and this is your first time. And for those of you who have an altar, make sure you keep your altar, you share your altar, either on the wall of the Wind Clan. Some people are sending it to me at windblessings@gmail. Either place works. In fact, it's kind of easier if you share it on the Wind Clan wall so other people get to ooh and ah over your altar as well. From the fire that I was at last night, I moved and I have a new altar here. I have that altar as well. I guess we're just keeping La Quinta in an altar today. But I figure 4 days, I'm staying at a friend's, in 4 days of broadcasting is probably a little bit much. So I've moved, and this will be where I'll be broadcasting from. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm at the base over by the Quinta Hotel of the mountains. And actually, it's kind of a significant year, come to think of it, that I'd be broadcasting from here. This is where I had my first shamanic dismemberment at the La Quinta Hotel with, I was sitting in a lecture that Hank Wesselman was doing with hundreds of people in the room. And with a little forethought, he had given me notice the day before. He's there like, oh, so that's when it happened to me too. And I'm like looking at this man, I didn't even know him. And the next day I was totally dismembered. And that's a story for a different day, because we're talking about oracle power today. For those of you who are new to this and new to me, I'm Renee Baribeau, the Practical Shaman. I'm the Hay House author of Winds of Spirit. My new upcoming book is going to be released February 5th. It's called A Pilgrim's Guide to Walking Wisdom, 1111 Insights. And as many of you know, the new Windwalker's Wisdom Oracle, which we're going to work with today in this session. And for those of you who are ordering the Windwalker Wisdom Oracle today, know that it's sold out, the first edition. I mean, in 3 weeks, we sold over 300 decks. And so there's 1,000 more on the way. So there's plenty for those of you who want to get in on the deal. I'm offering an Oracle Circle for a year. And every month we'll do teachings. Some of the Wind Clan graduates will be doing their own teachings in there as well. There'll be a lot of different things going on in the circle. And let me tell you why. If you have not read, or you don't have Winds of Spirit in your shamanic library, I highly suggest getting it. It's like the Bible book of the wind. But it was really like, a lot of people didn't quite get it. I didn't quite get it when the winds told me one day, you're going to write a book about the winds. I thought, like, why? But it's a powerful book, and it's about going direct to nature, to the winds for your information. And for 10 years, I wanted to do an oracle deck. And my friends kept saying, you need to do the art. You need to do the art. And I kept thinking, I don't have the capacity to do the art. And lo and behold, this year, the capacity came around, and I was able to do the artwork and create this, I mean, this stunning. I mean, you know what, let me take that back. The winds made it possible for this deck of cards to be created, because that's just how the winds work. And I want to say thank you to this oracle deck, the soul card deck. And Deborah Koff-Chapin will be with me tomorrow, I think noon one, I don't know the exact time. And she is the creator of this deck. And when I first saw this deck, what I loved about this deck was that there was just images. And so over the years, 20 plus years, I've used this deck very accurately for my clients. And so this new deck, this new Wind Oracle deck, has 32 more winds than in Winds of Spirit. So I'm a beginner with this Oracle deck too. So let me just say that The winds gave us 32 winds. We had hundreds of students, and hundreds of students were holding this wind work so that 32 more winds could be revealed, because this is a little bit of part of the story that I want to share today. I'm going to get there, but I want to say that this came about for Oracle Power because, of course, I have a new Oracle, and I am the practical shaman after all. And so this is practical to have a symposium that you've been having 13 years, focus on something that you're finding near and dear to your heart. But even more, what happens is that the power of the group and the intention magnifies your opportunity to go deeper and learn more in your wisdom. And I wanted to share this fire that there's been a lot of hanky-wanky stuff going on, okay? I don't know if you've had computer problems this week or other stuff going on, but it's intense. The energy is intense. Everyone's calling what's going on, what's going on. When I lit the fire yesterday, it was like the fire kind of engulfed that hucha, that denser energy, and dissolved it. Because look this is the fire at the end of our ceremony last night. And I did I took people on a video guided meditation to go to your sacred altar, but you have to be registered for the I Am Symposium to receive it, but it will come to you once you sign up and you get your email. All right. So I really highly suggest setting your intention, setting your altar, lighting your candle, because hold on, because I know the power of this ceremony. But this is Oracle power that we're talking about today. And so, of course, I did a little dance into the history. And oracles have gone across the millennial, and they've always been about our human innate desire to know ourselves better, to get guidance, to get insight. And over the years, they've taken many, many forms. And so you say the wind? Yeah, the wind. The wind was there first. Think about all the creation stories. The wind was there at the beginning. The wind informs the deer when to change direction. The wind can inform the people who live on the tundras to know when things are shifting a little bit, that it's time to leave the ice to go to the grasslands to plant their summer harvest. The other night, the wind started to blow, and I stepped out in La Quinta, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and there was this warm wind blowing. And lately in the desert at night, the temperatures have dropped into like the 40s. So the fact that, or maybe the 60s, but the fact that the wind was blowing like an 80-degree warm was really interesting. So if you start to pay attention to the wind, you'll be able to get a better sense of the weather, get a better sense of your life. And in the wind work, we take wind walks and actually get downloads of complete information. I'd take a walk for a couple hours and I'd get whole classes. And when I took an 11-day journey on the El Camino, the information that came through there was just stunning. And I really highly recommend you everyone pre-order the book. It's a really easy read. My friend Lori thinks it's a cross between the 7 Habits for Highly Effective People and the 4 Agreements. So I don't know. You tell me what you think. But let's go back to the ancient beginning. So there was the Oracle of Delphi. People used to seek out the Oracle of Delphi for information. And then in ancient Egypt, there was the priests. And then the Chinese oracles with the I Ching, and some of actually the wind work started when I was back in the China research, because they used to float a magnetic stone in a bowl of water to point directions. And think about it, your body is like mostly water, and we're aligned to the magnetic earth. So if you tend to work with your own magnetics and your own wind, you can get all of the information you need. Trust me, I used to call up psychic after psychic for information, And I don't know if I was just desperate at that time in my life, or I just thought somebody could steer me better. And then when I found the winds, I didn't need all of that outside guidance anymore. If I call, if ever, it's usually like for like a something that I might have my own agenda with, so I might want an outside perspective. But the winds, I know the winds have my back. I know that they're there to guide me, and they're there to teach me, and that through all the traditions, and tomorrow we have John Lockley talking about how in the African tradition, the smoke and the fire is always been the way that they've read things. Other ways too, but that's one way. So let's go forward to the medieval and the Renaissance. Well, what happened was they shut down spirit. Spirit was shut down in favor of religion. And there's a real pushback now that we want to be more spiritual and less, maybe less in the organized religion fashion. But people were wind believers before they were Christians, and before they were Muslims, and before they were Jews. The Holy Spirit's a wind. Ruach is a wind. Nirvana is a no wind. Om is the sound of wind passing through things. So yes, I love going to church. I was telling a client the other day, hey, I love to go to holiday mass. And when the Catholic priest starts talking about the word, I just change it with the wind, and it works out fine. And I get to hear the beautiful Christmas music. So I don't want to take away from anyone else, but I do want to say that the winds went silent until now. And now we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of air, the age of wind. And so this wind work, which, I've been working on for about a decade, is timely. So the fact that the Oracle sold off the shelf with the very first public, for first edition, doesn't surprise me. And I'm sure we're going to sell hundreds of thousands more. I just know it because their time is now. And so, there's many different oracles, and you're going to hear from a lot of people doing these during this time with us. There's people who are going to talk about the tarot and the runes. I did try to get somebody to talk about the I Ching, but she was traveling, and maybe she said she'd come back some other time. And then there's oracle cards. There's people like Amy Moscow, who's been with us several times, who's going to talk about her own divination system. And also Shaman Isabella has created her own system. So, and of course, Deborah Koff-Chapin is actually going to draw and show you how she's created her own system. So there's tons and tons of oracles out there. But today I want to teach you how to use this oracle. So in this book, in this wind deck, okay, because it's different than other oracles. This is all about the wind. And other oracles have, they have lots of meaning that's been, given to them over the years. But this deck is right for you to put your own spin on it, your own meaning to it. And what does that mean? It means that, there's some guidelines, of course, but one of the things that is so different for me about working with this is, so I want to work with these winds because I think these winds came out last night for a reason. And this was for the group wind. My own winds had a couple of other winds, but so let's just talk about Veamate for a second. She's the Latvian wind mother of nourishment and about taking time to replenish. Now, the Latvian wind mother, this is a really curious story. Now, you can read about her in the book, and you can go deeper in the Winds of Spirit book. But let me tell you my story with her, because one of the things about all of the windies and the wind believers is that they have their own personal stories with each of these wind characters. Now, I thought we were talking about a metaphor until one of my clients said, well, why don't you whistle up a wind? And so I whistled up a wind, and all of a sudden the door slammed shut. The curtains started to move and the wind spirit showed up in my living room. So we're talking about energies that you can invite in and to assist you in your life. Now, I know people who have called on winds and their income has doubled. I know people who call on winds just to get through the day. Just because you have a relationship with nature or you are nature doesn't necessarily guarantee, big fat riches in your pocket or success or fame or any of that. That's a different story for a different day. But there is this relationship of you are nature. You are nature. You're not. I saw someone shared with me yesterday that just by naming nature, we've separated ourselves from things. Now, that's a linguistic story from the ages that by naming things, we are separate from them. And that's true. But with these wind spirits, you can start to call and work with the energy of them. And the other wind we called was Trebaruna, which is a new sacred wind. When I got back from walking the Camino, I'm there like, well, I want to know, there's got to be some more winds in this area that I haven't met, because I saw the sheets flapping in the wind and people using clotheslines where most of us in the world aren't using clothesline. So I started to research, and there was a woman from Romania with us, and I started to find other wind energies. And Cardia, she was one of the original 32 winds. She is the Roman wind of hinges. So she'll close what's open and open what's closed. And so those are the three winds we got about our harnessing our own sacred wisdom, nourishing, take time to replenish, and closing and opening doors. Now, so one of the things that I see people do a lot is they'll look at it, they'll say, oh, facilitator. And they get stuck on the word, the facilitator. What I'm going to invite you to do here is to pull a card. And if it's not one of these, one of this oracle card, that's fine. But to actually pull let's stop this for a second. We don't need to see that. I'm going to actually ask you to pull your own card, okay? If you have the deck. If you don't have the deck, you can pull another card, or there's a wind spinner at the top of the wind clan, but those only are the 32 winds. And that's probably how that will live in the world. And there's also a free reader on my website, thepracticalshaman.com. So don't everyone run over there and crash it all at once. But if you go to thepracticalshaman.com, it says free oracle reading, and you can do it. Not all the cards in the deck are there. I'll just let you know that now. So I'm going to shuffle these, and we're going to work with one of these winds. Okay. Let's see who we're going to get with today. Oh, nice. This is a new wind for me too. Trebaruna, the sacred, the harness your own inner wisdom. And we're going to work with her to see how we can experience these winds for direct revelation. And that's great for personal development, self-reflection. And the thing is that it is different for all of us. But what I want to say is that there's certain things that we've learned of ways that we can work with these winds. And what we'll do is we set our space. Hopefully, most of you are holding altars. I'm going to teach you the wind breath. We're going to set an intention, and I'm going to set an intention. For me, the intention I'm setting is that, this gathering gives everybody exactly what it needs. And then I'm going to, I've already shuffled the deck and drew the cards. We're going to reflect on the cards. But what we're going to then do is I'm going to call to the wind to take us just on a little magic carpet wind ride into this wind. And what you could do is understand that this wind breath that you breathe in and breathe out is the thing that connects you to everyone else in the world. So we've all been told, oh, we're all connected, and isn't that great? Well, the thing is that we are all connected through the wind. That, think about it, when you come into this earth, you take that, you get your umbilical cut. I don't know if they still give you a little slap on the butt, but they get you to cry. And what does crying do? It moves the air in from this umbilical, how you were breathing, into your own lung. So your life comes in on that breath. When you die, your life goes out on that breath. So when you start to understand the significance of that, this wind work is really, really simple, not always easy, but it's at the essence of everything that we do. So if you want to, some of us, like someone pulled a card the other day and they wanted to know more information about it. What I'm going to invite you to is you go get the more information about it. You get it. Come back to or join the Oracle Circle this year. You come back to the Oracle Circle with, Renee, I did this spread and this is what it's informing me of. That gets me excited. Like the other day, somebody said to me, well, are there contrary cards in your deck? I'm thinking, well, I look at some of these cards and I think they are pretty contrary. Never mind turning them upside down. And, so no, I didn't turn up the cards upside down because there's intensities in the deck. Let me tell you what's in the deck. There is directional winds, and there's 12 directional winds from Boreas to the north trade winds. And what I learned when I was doing research this time is the northeast, the southeast, the southwest, and the northwest were actually the gates of Mesopotamia. Were not faced to the northeast, south, and west as some of the Greeks. And when they moved into the age of enlightenment, they changed the way the directions moved. Isn't that fascinating? So here we are now, we're opening up portals back to ancient wisdom. And I just love that. That just gets me very excited. Then there's, I think there's 40 some regional winds from all around the world. Do I have them all? No. There's probably more that'll be revealed, the more of you who hold these sacred winds and start working with them, because we need to create a foundation for this work. We need maybe 100,000 people to hold the winds so that we can really understand that this is what it means to be spiritual, but not religious. We go direct to source, direct to nature. And then there's wind intensities. There's the counter winds, the crosswinds, the downdrafts, the fair winds, the intermittent winds, and the windfall. The windfall is one of my favorites. The windfall comes from the peasants when they used to collect up after a big storm, they'd collect up all the fruits from the farm field, and there'd be the apples and the fire to keep their fires going. And that was the windfall. So if you look throughout history, there's been wind names for everything. All right. So, but what we're going to do is, because I'm trying to keep to my 30 minutes, like I've asked every other presenter to do, and I can go on and on. I want to work with Tribuna, and you can work with your own wind. And what we're going to do is, first, I'm going to teach you the wind breath. Now, it's nice if you have a wind whistle, but you don't necessarily have to have a wind whistle for this. Because if you don't have a the wind whistles are awesome, but if you don't have a wind whistle, you can go like this with your hand, tighten up the hole, and then blow it through there. Because what it does is it takes the wind from your belly and constricts it by restricting it, and you're really pushing out that breath so that it goes out into the ethers and in a way that connects you with the spirit. Now, I didn't create the breath of this. I think it's called a box breath. So you breathe in to the count of 7, you hold to the count of 7, you release to the count of 7, and you stay empty. And in the first wind breath, what I imagine as I'm bringing in that wind is that I'm bringing it in through the top of my head, all the way down and out the center by my coccyx bone into the earth, where the earth will connect me to the heavens, and the earth can mulch everything. Then in my second wind breath, I'm going to invite in Trebaruna because I've made myself a hollow vessel. So I've emptied, I left it empty for a minute, then I breathe in and I connect with Trebaruna, and I want to pay special attention to the qualities of Trebaruna. Okay? And then I'm gonna hold on to that, and then I'm going to release that and maybe merge with the wind. It's a merging experience. Okay, then on the third wind breath in, we're going to bring Trebaruna back in. And when we blow out Trebaruna, what we're going to ask is to be connected to everybody in this circle and everybody who's going to hear these messages. And this work is profound. So I'm gonna stop the share here because you can go back and look at that later. And let's do our wind breath. I can't see the chat, and I can't chat for myself, so I'm assuming that we're in good shape. If we're not, well, I guess that would be the wind too. And so I like to close my eyes or soften my eyes when I do this, and I start to breathe in. Now, just a little note that if you can only hold 4 comfortably, hold 4. If you can go to 10, hold 10. But you want it to be a smooth, even breath in and out, holding, empty, all of that. So if 7 works, 7 seems to be a good magical number. Sometimes I can go a lot longer, but let's see how we do with 7. All right, soften your eyes and start to breathe in. And hold it to the count of 7. And as we blow out, send everything into the axis of the earth. Stay empty for 7. Now call to Trebaruna as you're breathing in. And what does that energy feel like as it's expanding inside of you? And ride out with that wind. Stay empty. Scan your body. What do you notice when you're in the empty phase? Where does Trebaruna take you out in the ethers? And on this third wind breath, this final wind breath in, bring back Trebaruna and all the secret ancient wisdom she's been sharing with you out there. And now let's connect to everybody in this circle, everyone you're going to meet in the Zoom circles, and all the altars we're going to share together. And when you come back to your room, your space, you may want to journal, you may want to write down your notes on Trebaruna. And for those of you who are going to go deeper into this wind work this year, you may want to start making notes on some of these, You know, like the way I learned the soul cards was in the readings that I did for all of those years. So how that works for you is going to be very, very different. All right. I think I did pretty good. I stayed to my 30 minutes. How do you like that? I'm Renee. I'm the Practical Shaman. You can go over to thepracticalshaman.com. There's Winds of Spirit you can buy at your favorite bookstore. The Oracle deck, like I said, is going to be shipping. Probably they're on their way, so the next few weeks. And I'm going to hold the bonus open for you to join the Oracle Circle with every deck purchased, at least through the end of the year. And then A Pilgrim's Guide to Walking Wisdom is coming out in February, but it's available for pre-order. And I'm glad you're in the Wind Clan. I'm glad you're here. I want to see all of your altar pictures because I want to see this altar video full. I'd like to go see 200 altars in there this year. All right, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to my video yesterday and, you know, email, ask a question on the Wind Clan wall, and we will, you know, get to you. And I want to thank you all for being here. It's the power of this circle, the power of this vision that gets me going every year when I say, oh, that's just a lot of work to do it again. And so that altar video, seeing what you're doing at home, seeing the space that you're keeping is what inspires me and inspires everybody else in this circle. So I want to thank you and appreciate you being here. And we have 4 full days. So stick with us. And on Christmas Eve, we have a Native American flute concert, a Diksha blessing, and the Fire Tender altar video preview. So be with us, and we will see you at the fire.